Hey guys, and welcome back to today's box office. Up first, we got & Juliet, 97% and 939K to 99% this week and 840K. So the average ticket went down considerably despite a higher capacity. But yeah, & Juliet's, doing perfectly fine. Again, July 4th is typically a week when a lot of musicals tend to have huge, significant hits in their box office. It's not really an indicator of how they're doing or how they'll do over the summer, although in some cases it can be. But & Juliet is doing fine up until this point. Boop, which is closing 73% to 92% for 7 performances, and 539K to 557K. Vista Social Club, 95% last week, and 1,258,750 to 98% and 1,086,615. Cabaret, 92% and 883K last week, and 95% this week, and 842K. So again, it's ending on a higher note in terms of capacity, but in terms of its overall gross, Cabaret is definitely in the weak territory. Death Becomes Her, 94% to 96%, and 1,355,373 to 1,102,043. And Megan Hilty is coming back with a reduced schedule. Gypsy had maybe one of the worst weeks I've ever seen, 66% to 57%, and 995K to 293K, with an average ticket of $39. Audra was out, and when Audra is out, it does worse. But they purposely did a $39 ticket, which is fine. They were expecting to take the hit. But what is more concerning to me is that $39, they only could fit 57% capacity. That is a clear sign that Gypsy cannot survive without Audra. It can't even survive on $39 tickets. I mean, that is horrible. So if I'm a producer of Gypsy, close it with Audra, because if you don't, it's going to be like Cabaret and Hello Dolly. They're not going to work out, and you're going to close at a loss. I mean, they're already going to close at a loss, but this is just horrible. Hadestown, 98% last week and 746K to 100% and 693K. Honestly, I do think Hadestown, it's on that edge of closing and potentially staying open. It's had a okay 2025. I don't think this is an indicator. It normally does 7s and 8s in the summer. However, if it's more of the 6s and the 5s, then yes, it could close at the end of the year. But I do think this will stay open and be open in 2026. Potentially, maybe though, not this time next year, but we will see. Hell's Kitchen went from 87% and 907K to 92% and 779K. This is a pretty bad drop for Hell's Kitchen, all things considered. However, I think this is more of a blip than it's gonna close. This was obviously really terrible, and they definitely did not make money this week. But if you look at the weeks beforehand, they had 9s, they had 1 million, so I would consider this more of a blip than what you might see on the message board saying, oh, Hell's Kitchen's gonna close. It's gonna be here a year from now, and probably the year after that. However, if this does continue, yes, it could 100% close, but it would not close at the end of the year. It most likely would close sometime in mid to late 2026. Just in Time sells out last week 1,279,899. This week, 1,231,806. Maybe Happy Ending continues to defy expectations, selling out, and 1,307,502 last week, and 1,331,260 this week. Get wrecked. Moulin Rouge is destined to close, I think, at the end of the year. I think an announcement is imminent. 87% last week, 867K. 92% this week, 848K this week. It's far too expensive of a show to be doing 800,000 consistently, and that's what it's been doing without stunt casting. Mincemeat, 98% both weeks, 754K to 606K. Again, this is more of a blip than something that is continuous, so I don't think we need to be concerned about it. 6, 80% last week and 717K. This week, 87% and 709K. Stranger Things, 80% to 78%, and 1,011,369 to 928K. Definitely a huge disappointment, and I suspect that this, Stranger Things, if there wasn't a season 5, this would be closed. And I've gone over various reasons as to why I don't think this has worked out, but it's because there's no nostalgia. People just want season 5. They're not marketing it the way they should. It's a darker show. Tourists just can't go and see it like they can at Death Becomes Her. You have to watch 5 seasons. Some people are not into Stranger Things as much. Some people are fans, but they just don't care. I think that they're making a larger bet that people will crave Stranger Things content post-season, the final season. And it's a big bet, so it could still pay off, but as of right now, I think Stranger Things is a pretty big disappointment and an underestimation of the fan base of Stranger Things, and that it is huge, but they want to see season 5. They don't want to see, a prequel, and they want Stranger Things, not Stranger Things content, if that makes sense. Sunset, 97% last week and 1,851,487. 99% this week and 1,940,269, ending on a high note. Gatsby, 86% to 90%, and 966K to 918K. Kind of concerning because Gatsby's been doing 900K consistently rather than a million or low million, so as a producer, I'm really needing it to make $1 million plus, meaning 1,100,000, 1,200,000, to get past the more subdued fall months of September and October when they're gonna do under $1 million, almost guaranteed. But again, I don't think it's gonna close anytime soon. It's gonna be here a year from now. It's just seeing a bit of a lull. And The Outsiders sells out in 1,247,920 to 1,146,605. So those are the grosses for this week. Like, sub, and comment. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.